Here you are again once more, sitting in your underwear in front of the television on a Saturday evening, clutching a grubby Powerball lottery ticket, praying to all the gods that they will just smile on you.
Please let there be money in our bank account. Amen.
Just this once. You tune in, the draw commences, and one by one, the numbers start to come in. 54, 41, 33, 47. Oh my, you think. 4 numbers, that's $100. Then 10. You've just won $1 million. But before you can process what's just happened, the last ball drops, the Powerball, and the number is 10. That's it. Those are your numbers. You finally won, and won bigly. The gods have finally answered your prayers. The once fetid air in your apartment smells fresher. The light from your 40-watt light bulb seems to glow a little brighter, because you're now $500 million richer. What now? Finally, you've escaped the Matrix. You're free. You'll never have to flip another burger for the rest of your life. As a newly minted member of the uber rich, you need to amass the trappings of wealth quickly. But what do you buy first? Your mind dulled by many years of working in a cubicle writing reports no one will read, sluggishly comes to life.
I just had an idea.
You'll buy mansions. Yes, fast cars of course, but how about planes? Rich people have planes. Yes, that's it. You'll need jets and planes, but not just any ordinary ones. You'll need to make a statement, because you are, well, mad.
He's mad, son.
Right. Number 1 on the list of equipment you need to fill up your hangar with is the Mikoyan Mig-17 Fresco, which is in essence an upgrade of the classic MiG-15 designed to shoot down American bombers. Although she arrived too late for use in the Korean War, she did however see considerable action in the Vietnam War, where she tangled with F-100 Super Sabres, F-105 Thunder Chiefs, and mighty F-4 Phantoms. In fact, from 1965 to 1972, MiG-17 Frescos of the North Vietnamese Air Force would claim 71 victories against US aircraft, including public F-105 Thunder Chiefs and McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantoms. Not bad for a subsonic Korean War-era machine. This example is a single-seater, fitted with an afterburning VK1 LIS-5 engine that'll get you up to 1,150 kilometers an hour, 710 miles an hour, at sea level, but it'll clock 1,145 kilometers an hour, 751 miles an hour, at 3,000 meters, or about 10,000 feet, with reheat, and with that afterburner ignited, pushing out 7,450 pounds of thrust, can double the rate of climb, which is not too shabby at 12,800 feet per minute. And if you are in a hurry to put down a rebellion, or take down those American imperialists, you could go supersonic in a shallow dive. Although be warned, she was never designed to fly faster than sound, and will most probably end up with you wearing a personal set of wings before you get a chance to really spend all that dough. This little Soviet-designed terror is the Polish-built PZL Milik Lim 6 version, and can be yours for just $110,000. For that, you get a real fighter jet with history and onboard weapon pylons, drop tanks, simulated 23mm and 37mm cannons. Researching the various costs, it seems that operating this bird will set you back anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 per hour. But you are stinking rich, remember. That's a loose change for you. If you want a classic warbird to share with a friend, you can pick up the beautiful twin-boomed 2-seat DH-115 Vampire. With its long, elegantly curved dorsal fins, she's a real lady. The DH-115 T-55 was the specialized dual-seat trainer of the famous single-seat DH-100 fighter, and was essentially derived from the night fighter version. The Vampire was one of the pioneering jet fighters of the 20th century, and the first RAF aircraft to exceed 500 miles an hour. A variant called the Sea Vampire served as the Royal Navy's first jet fighter, and was the first jet fighter to make a successful landing on a carrier in 1945. The Vampire served with around 30 air forces, and saw action in counterinsurgency operations in Aden, and also used in combat operations with the Egyptian Air Force against Israeli Gloster meteors, again during the Suez Crisis. The Egyptians mainly used their Vampires for ground attack missions, against the advancing Israeli forces. This little jet has a Goblin 35B jet engine and a max range of 1,220 miles. She could get you and a friend to the Swiss Alps in no time at all with a stop or two along the way, and will cruise at around 500 miles an hour, but you can put your foot to the floor and get her up to 548. This beautiful slice of aviation history is yours for a mere $159,000. Researching the costs for this bird was a little challenging, but it seems that $2,000 to $4,000 an hour is about the average I was able to find, which is pretty affordable considering she's a classic. Frankly, you should take two, one for you and one for your newly upgraded wife. If your newly won mega fortune gets a little too much for you to handle, you can visit the afterlife in style and speed, but not just arrive, but crash through the pearly gates at over Mach 2, backwards, with everything on fire. If this sounds like a plan, well then step right up. I have just the ride for you. Your express elevator to heaven today is the F-104 Starfighter Interceptor, but be warned, she was referred to as the Widowmaker, Flying Coffin, and the Aluminium Death Tube by pilots, and with just a few of the confidence-inspiring nicknames given to this beast, due to her propensity to become a lawn dart. Designed by the famous Kelly Johnson of Lockheed, the same man who was also responsible for the SR-71, Johnson drew up the F-104 for use in the Korean War, where he made a small, relatively light airframe and joined it with a massive, and I mean massively powerful engine, a combination which would make it very fast and very capable as an interceptor, basically a missile with a man in it, but it was also considered to be a very dangerous aircraft in unskilled hands. The F-104 served with the West German, Italian, Japanese, Canadian, and Dutch air forces. Those crazy Dutch. They were armed with a 20mm Vulcan 6-barreled rotary cannon and 4 Sidewinder missiles. The jet is fitted with the famous J-79 afterburning turbojet, which was one of the biggest and most powerful engines at the time, producing a maximum of 17,900 pounds of thrust with reheat. That can propel you and a suitably mad friend up to 1,500 miles an hour and get you both to 73,000 feet, which is as close to heaven as you'll ever get with your clothes on. But if you really want to knock on God's door and thank him for your lottery win, one of these set an altitude world record of 120,800 feet in 1963. But with maximum effort, I think you could do better. This particular example, the F-104D, is a dual-controlled trainer version of the F-104C that was designed to carry nuclear weapons. So when you want to call it a day, hand over $1 million, which is 30% less than a Bugatti and a drop in the ocean for you. And anyway, you can't take it with you, can you? If you're enjoying this video, please help support the channel by liking and subscribing for more videos. Maybe even consider dropping a comment. I'll do my best to reply. Which of these planes would you buy? Okay, now we're talking. They say money can't buy class, but they have never seen the one and only F-86. If you're an aviation nut, then you probably had one of these hanging from your ceiling as a kid. She is easily one of the most beautiful jets ever to have been built by the hands of mere mortals. You know the expression, if she looks right, she'll fly right, and few jets will look right like the Sabre does. The history of the F-86 is long and full of great stories, having seen action in multiple conflicts, but she made her name during the Korean War, where she was pitted against the legendary MiG-15, and although the MiG-15 looked similar, the F-86 was instantly recognizable by soldiers on the ground by her smoky exhaust. This little pocket rocket comes with a General Electric J4727, pushing out a respectable 5,910 pounds of thrust that'll get you just under 600 miles an hour and fly you over 1,500 miles. However, you'll have to enjoy flying her alone as she's a single-seater. But who cares? You're flying an F-86. But for this privilege, you will have to part with $1.1 million. For this, you get tons of spares and a support package included. Regarding operating costs, from what I could find, it seems that $2,500 to $4,000 per hour was common, although these numbers were from a few years back. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, why are you quibbling? You're filthy rich, and if I have not already mentioned it, you are flying the F-86 Sabre. It doesn't get cooler than that. Now all you need is a 1954 Chevy Corvette, a pair of Ray-Bans, and you can now also afford some MiG-15s to shoot down. Now we're getting into the realm of pure joy. Ever since I saw the film True Lies with Arnie, I've wanted my own Harrier. The icon of the skies is as recognizable as any jet, with her ability to take off and land vertically. The price tag of $800,000 is more than justified, just to hear the Rolls-Royce Pegasus engine in action right now. I'm tempted to sell everything, including the missus, to get my hands on this jet.
Shut up and take my money!
But this is about you, not me. The Sea Harrier cut her teeth during the 1982 Falklands War, flying from HMS Invincible and HMS Hermes aircraft carriers, where they managed to shoot down the faster Argentine Mirage and Dagger jets, thanks to their superior maneuverability. This Harrier served with the Royal Navy and was regularly flown from carriers, is complete and ready to fly away. Imagine landing on the golf course or whizzing down to the shops in this. Although unfortunately all weapons have been removed, that's the least of your issues, since just filling her up will set you back $9,500, although I did see some sites quoting up to $13,700 per hour for the AV-8B Harrier, so this model would be roughly around the same. Crikey, that's a lot of cheddar, but that's a lot of Harrier. Before you comment that this is not a jet fighter, it is, however, still a fighter, and the Hawker Fury has the distinction of being one of the only propeller-powered aircraft to ever shoot down a jet fighter when it downed one during the Korean War. So that counts, right? I mean, just look at it. She's just a brutal-looking machine. Why would you not want to spend the $2.1 million? The Sea Fury was the last propeller-driven fighter to serve with the British Royal Navy and one of the fastest production single-engine aircraft ever built. It proved to be a popular aircraft with a number of overseas militaries, including the Cuban Air Force during the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion. This particular model, the ISS, or Iraqi Single-Seater Fury, was ordered for the Iraqi Air Force to fight in the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, and is one of 4 surviving Hawker Furies that still flies with its original 2,500 horsepower Bristol Centurus 18-sleeve valve 53.6-litre engine. Just imagine that sound. Depending on specification, the Hawker Fury was capable of up to 485 miles an hour, 18,000 feet, with a climb rate of 4,320 feet per minute, a service ceiling of 35,800 feet, and a ferry range with drop tanks of 904 miles. Everyone needs that classic car for the weekend trips to the coast, so why not a classic plane? Plus, you might need her to strafe the local HOA meetings, since they won't let you park your next purchase on your front lawn. So, maybe not a jet fighter or a prop plane, but it is a jet-powered aircraft with propellers, and it is technically a warbird. Think about it, the Chinook is perfect for taking you and 50 of the boys to Cancun for a weekend of debauchery and degeneracy. That $500 million is not going to spend itself. Initially designed for the United States Army with the first delivery of CH-47As in 1962, over the next 51 years, the CH-47 Chinook operated exclusively under military umbrellas, as it was considered a weapons platform. The Chinook was used during the Vietnam War, and kitted out with a pair of M60 machine guns in each of the forward doors, and sometimes an M2 machine gun in the rear cargo door, but later versions were upgraded by adding armor, improved engines, and upping its armament to include fixed forward-firing 20mm cannons, a 40mm grenade launcher on the nose, 5 50 cals and machine gun turrets on the sides. The Chinook has also seen actions in the Falklands, Libya, Afghanistan, and Iraq wars. In 2013, the United States government put the very first CH-47 Chinook up for sale to the highest bidder. Although it was not a case of handing over the cash and flying away. The government will need to perform background checks to make sure you're not going to launch a coup anytime soon, but once they see you are a fine, upstanding citizen, they'll throw you the keys so you can fly her home. So you've handed over around $2.5 million. What will you do with a Chinook, other than ferrying you and your friends to the bar and back? Well, for one, she won't be setting any speed or altitude records, but she can lift a huge amount of weight, able to carry around 11,000 kilograms external load, so you could always lease it out for heavy lift operations, and if not, she'll make the school runs a hell of a lot more interesting. I could not help myself when researching for this video. I knew I had to include a Spitfire. Yeah, I know, she's another prop plane. I don't care, she's a Spitfire. And frankly, she should be in every list, regardless of the purpose. Even the weekly shopping list. Eggs, potatoes, Spitfire Mark IX, celery, adult diapers for when taking the F-104 for a spin. You see, makes total sense. This particular Spitfire rolled off the production line during the spring of 1943 and commenced operation service with 331 Squadron, after which she was sent to Fighter Leader School in August 1944, and then to the Central Fighter Establishment Tangmere in June 1945. She has just undergone an 11-year, 100-point restoration, and is so beautiful to look at that it hurts my eyes. The Mark IX was designed to take on the FW-190 Butcherbird during World War II, and her Rolls-Royce V12 27-litre Merlin 70 engine with a 2-stage supercharger, which can produce 1,750 horsepower at 11,000 feet, can climb you and your very, very wide grin up to 38,000 feet, and clock in speeds of around 400 miles an hour. And if you've never heard the sound of a Merlin going at full chat, then you have never heard the angels sing. But you'll need to spend some serious shekels.
How much, quick? What? It's for the wife. Oh, 20 shekels. Right.
With a price tag of $4.7 million. Personally, I'm not sure if I'd fly her or just place her in a glass box and look at her all day. And a message to all the billionaires who regularly watch my videos: forget the mansions, the Richard Mille watches, and the parties in Dubai. Wearing the Spitfire is the ultimate status symbol. In a previous video I made, someone commented that it was possible to purchase an F-16. Honestly, I thought they were pulling my leg. But what do you know? You can buy an F-16, although you will need very deep pockets. It seems that it's not totally unheard of for F-16s to be privately traded, but these are not the demilitarized warbirds that are usually the playthings of the mega-rich. They are functioning combat aircraft that are marketed to service providers that provide adversary support and development services to the Pentagon and other defense contractors. These jets were originally from Jordan and were kitted out with all the bells and whistles, including night vision, a data bus for guided weapons, and a joint helmet-mounted queuing system. Plus, the jets have undergone upgrades, allowing them to fly for at least another 8,000 hours. Its Pratt & Whitney F100 220E engine will get you past Mach 2.05, or just a tad over 1,300 miles an hour at 40,000 feet, and the range is not too bad either, at 2,600 miles with drop tanks. With over 4,500 F-16s having been produced over the last 49 years, and with another 3,000 still in service, spare parts ought to be available, but it is unlikely you would be able to rearm the jet with the 20mm Vulcan 6-barrel rotary cannon or air-to-air missiles. If you thought the Sea Harrier was expensive to operate, the F-16 will take a chunk out of your lottery winnings with its $8.5 million price tag. Not to mention the ongoing operating and maintenance costs, which are estimated at around $22,000 per hour. That F-104 is looking more appealing. Thanks for watching. This was a fun video to make. I almost believed I had won the lottery, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Comment below and let me know what you think of these amazing machines, and what you would park in the hangar if you had just won the lottery.
For such a long period of time, still such a lethal machine.